Yeah. A few years for it. In person, we wanted to get that one. We wanted to make sure that. Sorry, do any kind of respect. Yeah, oh, yeah, right. There's two segments that are on. I'm on 50 Greenway. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the CRTPO Technical Coordinating Committee meeting on June 1st, 2023. The time is now 10:01. We'll start with roll call to my left at the table, and then we'll go in the room on the left-hand side, and then we'll move to the right-hand side.
Bjorn Hansen, Union County.
Todd Huntsinger, Indian Trail.
Eric Martin.
Megan Green, Mecklenburg County Air Quality.
Aaron Tucker, Town of Cornelius.
Genesis Harrod, City of Statesville.
James Kelly, Town of Waxhaw.
Andy Bailey, NCDOT Transportation Planning.
Andrew Ventresca, Town of Troutman.
Travis Johnson, CRTPO.
Candace Rory, Charlotte Planning. Liz
David-
Babson, City of Charlotte.
David McDonald with Cats.
Alex Ramundi, Bicycle Focus Area.
Irene Ivy, Mecklenburg County Public Health.
Samantha Miller, City of Charlotte, General Services.
Andrew Golden, Town of Davidson.
Gwen Cook, Greenway Focus Area.
Tracy Howe, Pedestrian.
Dana Stujanki, Town of Matthews.
Sean Epperson, NCDOT.
Steve Fry, Town of Mint Hill.
Neil Burke, CRTPO. Bob Cook, CRTPO. Andy Hensky, Town of Hampton. Bill Washington, Town of Morrisville. Joe Bradley, Oaks, Town of Morrisville. Warren Goosey, Town of Felix Obergon, NCDOT. Kevin Walsh, HDR. Stephen Rock, Town Marshall.
All right, thank you. And we'll move into our action items. So first, we need to adopt today's agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, we have a one request. The CUTPO requesting to amend the consent agenda to include the performance measures 2 and 3. This is to recommend to the board that it adopt a resolution supporting performance measures 2 and 3 that are targets established by NCDOT. A copy of this memorandum was emailed to the TCC last night. It was shared with the transportation staff meeting yesterday, and it is also included in the agenda packet this morning.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to adopt today's agenda with the addition of the third item, which is the performance measures standards? May I have a second? Thank you. All right, all those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Next item, moving on to the consent agenda. So do I need the third item listed, right?
Yes, we need to state that then.
Okay, I don't have it written. I want to make sure I get the words right. Apologize. All right. So today's consent agenda includes the approval of the May 4th, 2023 TCC minutes, the 2020-2029 TIP amendments, and the addition of the third item, which is the performance measures PM2 and PM3 targets. And we are recommending to the board that it adopt a resolution supporting PM2 and PM3 targets established by NCDOT. May I have a motion? Thank you.
Sorry,
Ms.
was that?
Erica. In a second?
Yeah.
David? All right, all those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. All right, moving into our business items. We have 3 business items today. First, we're going to hear from Andrew Ventresca on discretionary program supplemental funding recommendations.
Good morning. I'm going to apologize in advance for this very long presentation I'm about to give. We are going to discuss the discretionary projects submitted in the spring call. Just a reminder, the spring call is just for supplemental funding. So these are already existing projects. We do have an action requested today. We want to recommend to the CARTPO board to approve approximately $4 million of CRTPO's unobligated future year STBGDA funding for 2 projects we're about to present, and also amend the TIP as necessary. We only received 2 requests this time around. These are the requests that are on the screen right now. The first one is downtown Waxhaw pedestrian and bicycle facility enhancements. This is a project from Waxhaw. The requested amount is $392,000. This project does have a 50% local match. The second one is NC 115 widening from Mount Holly Huntersville Road to just south of Rama Church Road in Huntersville. This one, the requested amount is $3.1 million. This one, it's got right of way and construction is what they're asking for. Overall, this project has about a 33% match to it. The total request is $3.5 million. And again, these are the only 2 we received. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask for any questions.
Any questions for Andrew? All right, thank you. May I have a motion to, oh God, that's long, to recommend that the CRTPO board approve $3.924 million of the CRTPO's unobligated future year surface transportation block grant program, direct attributable STBGDA funding to 3 existing discretionary projects that have experienced shortfalls, and amend the 2020-2029 TIP to allocate the funding to the existing discretionary projects.
I'll make that motion.
Can I just make a quick comment? I think this was carried over from last year. We only have 2 existing projects. The motion lists 3. So if we could just make that amendment to 2.
Thank you. May I have a motion with the amendment to change that from 3 existing to 2 existing discretionary projects?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Andrew. All right, next, we're going to hear from Travis. And he's going to provide us with a presentation on the draft 2033 Transportation Improvement Program.
Hey, everyone. It's great to see everyone today. My name is Travis, and I want to talk to you today about the draft 2024-2033 Transportation Improvement Program. And we're asking today for a recommendation to the CRTP board that at first make an air quality conformity determination, second, adopt the 2050 MTP amendments, and then third, adopt the 2024-2033 TIP during the June 21st meeting. So I'm going to go a brief overview over public involvement, the TIP financial plan update, the air quality determination. Then we'll do over the schedule we have been following and then answer any questions you might have. So we had a public comment period from March 16th, to April 14th, and we also held a supplementary public comment period from May 4th to May 17th. During this time, we did media releases to the 3 counties. We did social media promotion, and we shared project lists and maps on the CRTPO website. 4 general comments were received that had concerns about project schedule delays and the need for more active mobility projects in our region. All of those comments were summarized and shared in your agenda packet, and the staff determined that none of the comments received required changes to the draft TIP or related documents. Federal fiscal constraints is that all projects must have established funding for the years of 4 years for 2024 and 2027. NCDOT has found that they determined that the funding sources and revenue estimates cover the projects in fiscal years 2024 to 2027 of the STIP and the CRTPO's TIP. And this meets the federal requirements for fiscal constrained TIP. Additionally, FHWA approved the release of air quality conformity documents and emissions expected from 2024 to 2027 TIP projects, and the 2050 MTP amendments are in conformity with the 8-hour ozone standards and conform to the purposes of the SIP. Since receiving the initial draft release of the 2024-2033 STIP by NCDOT in August 4th of 2022, we've shared with you this project schedule delays. NCDOT held a public comment period in December. We also opened a public comment period originally in March to April, distributed an updated version on April 3rd. We also held a supplementary public comment period from May 4th to May 17th and came back as an information item last month. This month, we're returning for a recommendation to the board. In addition to that, the NCDOT Board of Transportation will also be adopting the STIP this month. And so after this meeting, the NC Board of Transportation will then go to the CRTPO board for hopeful adoption. So with that, again, we're asking the request that we recommend these 3 items in this order. Does anyone have any questions about the draft 2024 to 2033 STIP?
Any questions for Travis? All right, may I have a motion to recommend that the CRTPO board make an air quality conformity determination, adopt the 2050 MTP amendments, and adopt the 2024-2033 TIP during the June 21st meeting? Thank you. And a second. Thank you.
Sorry, who's the second?
Samantha.
Samantha.
Got it. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Right, Travis, I think you're with us again.
I am again.
And now you're going to provide an update on the 2026-2033 TIP development process,
Yes,
otherwise known as NCDOT Prioritization 7.0.
Correct. So, as we just went through that other process, it's important to remember that that is the end of a prioritization process. So as one prioritization process ends, another begins. And this is prioritization 7.0. So I want to go over an action requested, go over P7 updates, and then answer any questions you have. The requested action is to recommend that the CRTPO board opens a 30-day public comment period on the draft P7.0 project list. We're going to advertise this through social media. The project list can be viewed on the website and webpage we've created for P7.0. Currently, agenda pack, the maps have not been included, but those will be made available prior to the release of, or prior to the board meeting and prior to the release of the public comment period. And then we will hold a 30-day public comment period from June 22nd to July 22nd to review this initial list of projects, which were included in your agenda packet. So again, the P 7.0 database, prioritization 7, it starts out with projects that were in the 2024-2033 STIP, which was just recommended for adoption. So projects in years 6 to 10 get automatically carried over as carryover projects. In addition to that, any sibling of STIP projects or where there's planning underway also get carried over. They count as carryover projects. So any of the projects then in P6 that are not included in those two lists are then called holding tank projects. Those holding tank projects can then be resubmitted into prioritization 7.0 database, but that's when they start counting against our 49 submittal slots. And then after we submit the holding tank projects, any slots remaining that up to 49 total, then create opportunities to submit new project entries. Now we work with member jurisdictions to submit new projects with all the modes except for highway, which is highway we pull from the 2050 MTP based upon horizon year and overall project score. And so that is the only one where we have the existing list ready to move into the prioritization 7.0 process. With this, the current draft list includes 49 highway projects, 28 bicycle and pedestrian projects, 2 transit projects, 8 rail projects, and then 22 aviation projects. Prioritization 7.0 project list was reviewed during the May 31st transportation staff meeting. As part of this review, we're also asking you, the member jurisdictions, where you see a project in your jurisdiction, to review this information for accuracy, make sure the to and from are still the logical locations, make sure the description is still accurate for what your community is looking for, and just make sure we have the best information possible, because when we submit this to the SPOT online database, that is the information that then receives the quantitative score. So the more accurate the information is, the best chance we have of getting the proper points assigned to the project. Please also notify us if you see a project in this list that maybe has gotten funded through other process, you have another funding source, or maybe it's something the community no longer is interested in. Please let us know so that we can then remove that project, and specifically for projects in the highway list, that then allows us to then move another 2050 MTP project into our 49 projects. So for roadway projects, we had 35 carryover, or also called legacy roadway projects. And these, again, don't count towards our 49 submittal slots. If we remove any of the carryover projects, then that allows us to then add an additional submittal slot, so that we're not penalized if we remove a carryover project. In this draft list we have removed 2 projects with the support of the jurisdiction. So this is the Idlewild Road Part A and Part B. So we worked with a jurisdiction. They indicated they would not like this project to move forward in the carryover list. So we removed those. So that allowed us 2 additional submittal slots in the highway category. For submittal holding tank projects, we had 45 unfunded P6 projects that were in the holding tank. 1 project was removed as part of this process, and that was Lawyers Road from I-485 to Stevens Mills Road. And again, that was in coordination with the member jurisdiction. So with that project removed, we get additional project that we can submit. And then the new project list, which you see in your agenda packet, had those additional slots that were made available through the carryover in the holding tank. And in addition to that, we had 1 existing project, which was NC 51, which was split at Lebanon Road by NC DOT. So because that project was split, only 1 project may retain the spot ID. So that means that the new project that we created by splitting that project must be submitted as a new project. So that is project 1 on the new project list because it was part of an existing project. And then the other projects in that list were from the 2050 NTP based upon horizon year and overall score. Bicycle and pedestrian work group assisted with creating the 28 project lists that you see. There were holdover tank projects and new projects that were submitted as part of this. Public transportation, we have 2 projects that we've collected with the support of our member jurisdictions and member transit partners. In addition to that, some of these projects are still being refined. And so there still is opportunity to update this information, or if we need to add an additional project to this as part of the public engagement process, there will still be opportunity to add submittal slots. Again, we have 49 options. And so out of those 2, we can still add more. We've been working with NCDOT Rail Division, as well as CATS in Union County and Charlotte DOT to identify rail projects and rail crossing projects. And we've identified 8 projects as part of that. And then with the aviation, with the 3 airport partners we have 10 projects submitted for Charlotte Douglas International, 4 projects for Statesville, and 8 projects for Charlotte Monroe. So again, right now we are in the first step of this process, and that's the identification of projects for P7. And that's going from May until September of 2023. And again, we're just creating this initial list to get to the point of submittal, to then have it go through the quantitative process of creating the next step. So after we submit it, it'll then go to the spot office for review from October to March of 2024. Local inputs will then be made of it, or we can apply local inputs after May. And then NCDOT will then start calculating final scores and programs and projects starting in September. And then in December of 2024, we hope to have our draft 2026-2035 STIP. And again, just as we just adopted the previous STIP, this is again starting that process all over again. And we will go through again more public engagement, reviewing that list, making sure information is accurate. So in June, again, we opened up for project submittals for all modes. We're here to ask for any information about if there's any information that needs to be updated in the project list. Do the descriptions make sense? Do the locations still make sense? Is there anything that can be removed as part of this process? But also ask you to open a 30-day public comment period. Again, we'll do a 30-day public comment period from June 22nd to July 22nd. We'll share updates as we move through this process with you in July. And then we'll come back to you in August to ask for a recommendation to the board to approve the proposed draft lists. After it is approved in the August meeting, then we will have till the end of September to submit all the projects, which is up to 49 per mode, to the spot online database. And then at that point is then when it goes into the next phase, which is the actual ranking and creating the points for each mode and the 3 funding buckets of statewide, regional, and division. So with that, ask again is to recommend that the CRTUPO board opens a 30-day public comment period from June 22nd to July 22nd on the draft prioritization 7.0 project lists for all modes. Does anyone have any questions about this item?
Yeah, assuming the board opens the 30-day public comment session later this month, and I'm talking about roadway submittal since we have used over slots. If we do get a lot of comment, do you plan on meeting with the subcommittee again, just to kind of go over what we had?
Yes, if we need to meet again to discuss any substantial changes that need to be made to the list, we'll meet with the highway subcommittee again. Again, the process we have currently set up is to then just recommend the next highest ranked MTP. But any deviation from that or any significant changes to these lists will then merit the meeting of the subcommittee again, and then we would update this committee and then the board next month or during the public comment period. Or if something significant happens before the board meeting, we would bring it up at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, may I have a motion to recommend that the CRTPO board open a 30-day public comment period from June 22nd to July 22nd on the draft P7.0 project lists?
Thank you.
Thank you. Got that
That's
draft?
Erica and David.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Travis. All right, we have 2 information reports today. First, we're going to hear from Bjorn Hansen on the Waxhaw Parkway CTP amendment.
Morning, everyone. This is an informational item. Hopefully in July, we'll be taking it for recommendation to the board. We had a study completed by the NCDOT last year to look at the alignment and the cost estimate for the Waxhaw Parkway segment that has been considered in the STIP and MTP and previous cycles. And they completed their work in late 2022. And the towns of Mineral Springs and Waxhaw, along with the county, wanted to incorporate this work and the recommendation into the CTP. So what we received was the corridor that's shown in gray, which is the study area for the recommended new alignment. And we just took the center line of it for the actual CTP amendment, which is what is shown in purple. The little hook at Waxhaw Highway is to take it with a bridge over NC 75 and then connect it in. This has a cost estimate higher than what was considered previously, $72 million, but it is considered more feasible with lower impact. And of course, as we make sure to tell the property owners and decision makers, this doesn't eliminate the need to actually do a construction grade design when the road is actually funded in the future. So of course, this could change. So the existing alignment is what's shown in orange, and the current alignment takes it in closer to Waxhaw. This is really informed by a lot of the origin destination work that Waxhaw funded, or Waxhaw had done with a grant from CARTPO in the last couple of years to identify where the people are coming from that are trying to get through downtown Waxhaw. It's very congested, to determine which bypass segments would be useful and where they should really be located. So bringing it closer into town was considered more useful for the people trying to get through Waxhaw. This affected the southern alignment of the Waxhaw Parkway because the long-term vision is to connect it in with South Providence, south of Waxhaw, to create a continuous corridor. And that means that this section in green is an amendment as well to continue that connection down to the southern edge of the map. And it's been a mess over the last 30 years as we've gone through thoroughfare plan and CTP amendment work through Waxhaw, Union County, back when this was MUMPO, now CARTPO. And this is just to give some humility to the overall process and acknowledge the pain that a lot of the property owners have had in the area, because different alignments have been referenced in plat maps as subdivisions and development has occurred in the area, and we just want to be cognizant of that. So the process is, in May, we had resolutions signed by both of the towns and the county. We presented to staff meeting earlier this month. We're here now for the TCC presentation, and later this month to the board. Hopefully in July, we will get authorization to proceed with our comment period. And then from late July to late August, actually conduct the comment period both online and in person, mailing to all affected property owners of both corridors, and then bringing the results back for endorsements if the results are positive by the municipalities in the county, and then bring it back to CARTPO later in the fall. And I got ahead of this slide. So yeah, in November, hopefully, if things go well, we will be taking action to recommend adoption. Of course, then it goes to Board of Transportation as well for concurrent adoption, and then the CTP will be amended. So any questions or comments are appreciated. Otherwise, we'll be taking this for information to the board later this month, and then for action by both in July.
Any questions? Right, hearing none. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll move on to our last information item. We're going to hear from Bob Cook on the CRTPO congestion management process.
Good morning, everyone. Aren't we just advancing?
Yeah, I took it off.
Oh, you did, okay. There we go. All right, there we go. Good morning, everyone. Kendall Clanton has been in touch with some of you about this endeavor, and he actually is in Hickory today at P 7.0 training. So I'm pinch hitting for him. So we wanted to give you an update on what's going on with the congestion management process. And so what we'll do today, or what I'll do today, is to talk a little bit about background on the CMP, some of the recent developments, our next steps, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions all of you might have about this topic. So to give you a little bit of background, this is a required element of any MPO that exceeds 200,000 in population. And so what a CMP really is this regionally accepted approach for managing congestion. And the process must provide a series of recommendations for how congested facilities can be managed. We have traditionally updated the CMP every 4 years, largely every 4 years, in association with our MTP cycle. And our CMP here locally was developed in the 5 steps you see there, where we identify study area and congested areas. We develop goals and objectives, performance measures, conduct the evaluation. We identify strategies, and that'll be important part of what's coming up with the with this process, and then develop an implementation plan. So that's been the process we've gone through over the past 3 iterations. So in terms of goals and objectives or performance measures, our goal for the CMP for quite some time now has been a very, very simple one. It's manage congestion. It's as straightforward as that. It's nothing more elaborate. It's just manage congestion. And then we have 4 objectives associated with that, where we develop congestion management measures. We reduce non-recurring congestion duration. That's the congestion that happens not on a routine basis every morning peak, every evening peak, but just it's non-recurring. And then consider a full range of strategies to manage congestion. And then lastly, to improve the resiliency, redundancy, and reliability of the overall network. So again, very simple goal with elaborated a little bit more in terms of the objectives. That's where we stand now. And so, as we like to do at CRTPO, we are looking at forming a task force to get this process started. And Kendall has been reaching out to folks, and these are the people who have agreed to serve on the task force. And you can see the organizations or the initiatives that the folks will represent. And I think many of the names are probably familiar to you, familiar in terms of either the individual or the organization or the initiative they're representing. The one that might stand out a little bit is at the end under Transportation Demand Management. Reagan Murphy works for Central Line Regional Council, and she's one of the leads on the TDM study that's just getting underway. So we thought it was important to include Central Line and specifically Reagan in this initiative. And so what we're looking at in terms of the duties and responsibilities for this task force are 5 here. So first of all, to re-examine the goal and the performance measures. Are they still valid? Does that goal need to be changed? Do we need a second goal, for example? Same thing with the performance measures. Do they need to change as well? And then secondly, to identify new goals, I sort of jumped ahead there, to identify new goals or performance measures. So that will be a part of the process, looking at what we have now, and then seeing if anything needs to be added to that. And then reviewing the current strategies we have listed in the current CMP. These were developed over 10 years ago, and some of them probably need to be perhaps reconsidered. There might be an opportunity for consolidation in some areas. I think basically they're all fairly sound, but they probably need a little bit of work. One area that I think we will be looking for the task force for assistance is establishing, in some cases, definitions, because one thing that we did do when we did an internal review of the CMP is that our strategies, some of them don't always come with, none of them actually have a definition. Each one does not list what that strategy means. Most of them are intuitive. I would say probably about 80% of them are intuitive, but there are some that are not quite so intuitive, and some of them are seem like they're duplicates of other strategies. So can we do a little paring down, and then also establishing more clear definitions for those that aren't quite as intuitive as the name would suggest. And then we do want to have the task force provide feedback on the region's congested corridors. That's been a part of the process we've done as we go through the MTP cycle. We do want to get some feedback, and that's traditionally been the role of this task force when it was in place in the past, to provide that feedback. And then lastly, we want to make sure that the CMP continues to be applicable to our vision and our overall goals and objectives, not just the CMP goals and objectives, but the goals and objectives of the organization as a whole. And so what's going to be happening through this process is that the task force will confirm the goals and performance measures or recommend some changes, confirmation of the final strategy list, and then confirmation of the congested corridors. In terms of some recent developments, as I alluded to earlier, we've been meeting internally to look at the strategies and consider reassessing the goal and the performance measures from the 2050 MTP, which they weren't much different from the 2045 or the 2040 MTP for that matter. And we've prepared a 6-month timeline that I'll share with you in a moment. We've talked a little bit about some timelines to be added to the strategies. And then we've also looked at CMPs from other MPOs of comparable size to just kind of give us some ideas as to what other organizations are doing throughout the country. So this is a proposed 6-month timeline for the task force. We've held the internal meetings there. You can see up top, TCC presentation today. We'll be meeting with Metrolina regional model staff on the 13th. We'll conduct a similar presentation as to today's at the June 21st board meeting. Our first task force meeting is to be determined, but we're hoping it'll be in mid-July. A second meeting with the Metrolina regional model staff, and then a second and third task force meeting going into the fall of this year. So we hope to be wrapped up by that time. And so in terms of next steps, we will be in touch with the task force members about those potential meeting dates. So if your name is on that list, be on the lookout for a doodle poll coming from Kendall. We'll continue to review other MPO CMPs. And then we'll of course be meeting with the task force sometime hopefully in July. And one thing I did want to mention before we get into any questions or comments you might have is that one of the reasons why we're doing this is that as I mentioned, this has been folded into the MTP cycle, the past three iterations of the MTP. What we'd like to do some of that work in advance because we have some additional staff now and we can take on some of those tasks, and that can take some of the burden off the cost of preparing the MTP as well. So that's one of the primary reasons we're doing it. We have the staff to be able to pursue it now, and we think it's a good idea for us to do some of this in-house and have some cost savings as a result. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the CMP or the process that we're proposing to undertake.
Any questions for Bob? You guys are quiet today. All right, Bob, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into our final item, other reports. As always, Theo and Anil from Division 10 and 12 have provided project updates, and those were included in your packets. I have seen Theo. I did not see Anil. Sean? Yep. Okay. Anyway, there's folks from NCDOT who are here if you have questions about those projects. Does Sean have an update? Is that what you meant? Oh, okay.
Sean is here if anyone has any questions for Division 10.
Okay. And then let me see, Transportation Planning Division, Andy, welcome.
Thank you. So I'm here, so this means Dominic's not, some of you may have already heard Dominic actually has taken a new position within the Transportation Planning Division. It's a statewide initiative, engineer, y'all remember just her position, that she's now promoted to the COO's office. So I brought Roger Steele along with me, so he helped me out a little bit with some of the Charlotte items. He's currently my territory and prosecutor. A couple things. I just wanted to note the U6170 Warriors Road and Stevens Mill Road, I-85 was delivered in February. Apparently, there's been some conversation about to update the model to include the new Woodford developments that's going to go on at the corner of I-85 and Warriors Road. So that's going to be coming through probably in the next few months. Also, I know that Dominic included this in the update in May, but I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit that our traffic survey folks in Rockland and Raleigh have updated their seasonal factors, and what this means is types of roads, where they are, how they function, and factors by day of the week and by what month. This is basically to apply raw count volumes to be able to then, qualify those as ADC. Available on our website. If you have any other questions, please let me know.
All right, thank you. And I don't believe Alex joined us yet. So he might be stuck on the train. All right, Warren Cooksey, nothing from you today? Okay, so nothing from Project Oversight Committee? And nothing,
That's
oh,
canceled. Our bicycle pedestrian work group is canceled this afternoon. Members should be aware of that already.
all right, thank you. And then Travis?
Then one upcoming issue. CRTPOs, I'm here to announce the CRTPO certification review. The public comment period is opening today, June 1st through July 30th. On Tuesday, June 27th, will be our in-person review with the FHWA and FTA. Federal law requires that every 4 years, both the FHWA and FTA evaluate and certify the transportation planning process of anticipated populations that exceed 2,000. The last review was dated in March 2020. FHWA is changing the cycle bus for a year early this time. We'll return to the 4-year cycle after this review. No formal agenda is yet available. Focus on public involvement. Public. Board members will have the opportunity to FHWA and FTA staff on June 27th. Our current FHWA liaison has said that she's unable to meet members, or she's able to meet with members at other times if they're available on June. Let her know. If you'd like to meet prior to the board meeting on June 7th, for the schedule.
We didn't have him right. I apologize, sir. That's okay. All right. Any further discussion, questions for the group before we adjourn for today? As always, thank you all for your time and participation in the important work that we do in transportation planning for the region. Now that we have completed the agenda, we will adjourn.
Say, Bob.